For today's video, I just wanted to play with eyeshadow today and do something bold and bright and colorful. I received the new Singe Beauty Agate Temptation palette in PR, and I thought this would be the perfect colorful palette just to play with today. I did also test out and do a first impressions of the new Makeup Forever multi-sticks that I'm very excited about. So let's zoom in and get started on this eye look. I'm super excited to just sit down and play with eyeshadow today and do a colorful look because it's definitely been a minute since I've played with some color, but I was feeling very inspired by this new Singe Beauty palette, so let's take a look at it really quick. So this is the new Agate Temptation palette by Singe Beauty. I think this color story is really fun. I like the mix of neutrals, the greens, you have some like reddish tones, a little bit of warmth in here as well, and I think this could be a really fun palette for summer if you like to play with some color. And when I saw this palette, I was just immediately drawn to the green shades right here. I think these are so fun, so I want to do something with those today. My eyes are primed and ready. I used the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer, which is my favorite one, and then I just set that with the translucent powder. I think I want to go pretty bold today. I'm gonna start with the shade Banded on a fluffy crease brush. Ooh, this color looks so fun and bright. Let's see how this shows up on the eyes. And I want to put this throughout my entire crease. This is also my very first time using Singe Beauty shadows. I did receive her first palette in PR, but I just never got around to using it. So I am really excited to be trying this brand and trying this palette today because I've been seeing so many people post about it, especially, you know, all my friends in the creators and friends group. So I'm doing a few layers of this shadow to get it nice and intense in my crease. I feel like with the first layer of this, it looked a little bit more yellow, but I want it to pull pretty green. What I'm liking about this shade too, when I'm picking it up in the palette, there's really no kickback. Like there is not a powdery mess right now, which I'm pretty impressed by. So I'm using this shade Banded as my transition shade because I'm going to do a lot of building on top of it. So this is kind of like the base shade of my look that's really going to help with all the blending of everything. I always like to get my transition shade laid down first. And because you can be the sloppiest with this shadow as well. So again, I'm doing about 3 layers of this shadow to get it to the intensity that I want it to be. I think this shade is super fun. I also think it could be really pretty as like a bright inner corner highlight if you were to do like a neutral look. That could be my second look with this palette. I just had another idea. Yeah, I'm picturing like a neutral, kind of warm brown look with this bright shade right in the inner corner. Maybe a little bit of a highlighter on top of it. That could be so fun. And just like a little pop of color, you know? I'm just gonna make sure I have some of this shade on the outer part and inner part of my lid as well. I think I wanna do a little bit more of a halo eye today, so I'm okay with leaving the center of my lid pretty blank for now. Now I'm gonna switch to a small crease brush in the shade Geode. So I have it on the tip of my brush like that, and I'm gonna start by lightly packing that on the outer part of my lid. I have a huge announcement coming next week. If you've been following me and kind of keeping up with my little hints for the last couple months, you might know what's coming, but keep an eye out on my Instagram, on my community page, because something big is coming on my birthday on June 10th. So again, I always like to start with a little bit of shadow at first, build it up, and then I can add more as needed because it is much easier to add shadow than take shadow away. I would love to know if you guys have tried any products from Singe Beauty. I have tried her blushes. There were, I think, 2 shades out of the few she launched that I did really like. Maybe I'll use one today. We'll see. And then obviously Singe has their brushes as well, but I mean, you guys know me, like I'm such a Sigma brush girly. I'm always gonna be a Sigma brush girly. Yeah, I'd love to know if you've tried anything from them or if they have something that like really stands out to you, let me know. Okay, so I have this Geode shade on the outer part of both eyes, and then taking a little bit more Geode and bringing that to the inner corner to make the halo eye. This color combo right now is giving me Oregon Duck vibes. Like whenever I see green and yellow together, that's what my brain goes to because that's what I grew up seeing when I see yellow and green, so that's fun. I want to swatch a couple of these shades just to kind of see what I'm working with because I feel like a few of these shades would look really good on the center of my lid. Oh, wow. Again, this is my very first time like swatching this formula. Okay, so here are my shade options that I was thinking of. So this is Quartz, which is just like a beautiful shimmery green. This one is crystallized. It's kind of hard to see on camera. You can see it has like a green shift to it, but then it also shifts kind of like pinky rose gold almost. I don't know, that shade's kind of hard to explain. And then this one is Silica, kind of like a yellowy, soft goldish white. And then Gilded, which is more of like a yellowy gold. I think I'm leaning towards quartz just because this one is so fun and intense. So that's what it looks like in the pan, and I'm just gonna take that on my finger. Here we go. I'm gonna try this with no additional primer underneath it because I want to see how this looks on its own. So I'm placing that on the entire center of my lid. That is so pretty, wow. I'm very impressed with the pigment of these shadows. Like, they're very easy to work with. They're not too powdery, not too messy. And this showed up really, really nicely without that extra like sticky primer underneath it. So I do like to focus this on the center of my lid, but then I do bring it outwards just a little bit to kind of cover a lot of my lid space. Then I'm gonna go back to my fluffy crease brush that I started with and just kind of lightly feather out those edges of the shimmer. I really can't remember the last time I did a green eyeshadow look. I know I've been doing so many neutral looks, especially like warm neutrals, but that's just what I've been so into lately. Then again, just softening out the edges of that shimmer. Now I'm gonna go back to my small crease brush in the shade Plume, and I'm gonna use that to add more depth to the very outer part of my lid. I really like how dark this kind of green shade is, and I know that I wanna use a lot of it on my lower lash line. Like, I think I wanna do something pretty smoky today. Like I said, I want to go kind of intense and bold, just like do something I haven't done in a while. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Also, I have zero fallout with these matte shades. I have a little bit of fallout with the shimmer, but that's kind of to be expected with like a shimmer shade just because like the little shimmer particles are so tiny. So sometimes they get on your cheek, but no fallout with these matte green shades, which is really nice. Okay, I'm super happy with how this deeper green shade looks. If you want to keep this more of a halo eye, you could also add it to the very inner corner, but I kind of like how this looks, where it's like my inner corner is a little bit more mid-tone, but just not as deep as my outer corner. Before I do liner and lashes, I want to add one more light shade just to the very center of my eyelid to make it pop even more. And I have two options for this, so let me walk you through what I'm thinking. So I could totally do Silica, which I swatched earlier, which is that kind of whitish, yellowy gold shade. Or I could kind of switch it up and do translucent, which is white, but it has a little bit of a bluish tint to it. And I think that bluish tint could look kind of fun against like this yellowy green I have going on. So I'm gonna take translucent on my pencil brush and let's see if this really does anything. Just right on the center. Okay, it's making like the most subtle difference ever, but I like it. It's doing something. I'm doing a couple layers of this, but again, I'm really trying to focus it just like right on the center of my eye, like I'm following my iris and everything. I can see the difference before and after. Super subtle. It might be a little more intense if I used my finger, but I want a small brush for this. I don't want to overdo it. Okay, I'm actually having so much fun right now playing with shadow. It's been a minute, you know, since I really played with color, and I'm just feeling a little inspired right now and like, I don't know, kind of feeling my old ways a little bit. I'm gonna go pop on some black liner in my tight line, mascara, and lashes. I'll be right back. All right, here are what the eyes are looking like so far. For my lashes, I'm wearing the Bright Lashes in the style All Naturel. Now, aside from this palette, there was one more product that I really wanted to try on camera today for a first impression because I'm actually really excited about this product. So I just got these in PR yesterday. They are new from Makeup Forever. So these are called the Artist Color Crayons, and it's supposed to be a multi-use stick you can use on your eyes, your lips, your cheeks, multi-use everywhere, right? And I was very excited to see that they came out with an Endless Cacao shade. Because if you've been watching my channel for the past like year or so, I have been raving about their liner in the shade Endless Cacao. I love using this for like little shadows on the eyes. I've even done like nose contour with this, a lip contour with this. So like having this shade now in this giant stick, I'm really excited about. I was actually about to buy this product myself. It's been sitting in my Sephora cart, but I was like, let me hold off because I typically get Makeup Forever in PR. So when I did get it, I was like, yes, I wanted this. It looks like they have a lot of shades too. They have like their contour shades, some blush shades, some highlight shades. I'm most excited about the contour. I might try a blush today, but we'll see. But I just posted a video last week where I was raving about the Anastasia cream contour stick. I've been using this one so much in the shade Halftone, so I'm kind of excited to see like how these compare. I just really wanted to get my first impressions of this on camera, so here we go. It is a big looking crayon, honestly. I'm not super happy with how my base is looking so far today, but I'm just gonna go right in with this. This might be too dark as a face contour. I don't know, we'll see. I'm just winging it here. If this works well, I could totally see myself using these as like little shadows too, because that's something I do a lot. If I want like an easy eyeshadow look, I'll just take my bronzer or contour and just bring that like into the crease of my eye and stuff. So I really like the idea of this multi-use stick. Okay, that blended out pretty well. Let's see what I can do here. Still doing my like under the cheek contouring that I've been just playing around with recently. And I'm using the BK Beauty 116 brush to blend this out. It blends out really nicely, and this shade is kind of exactly what I wanted and what I expected it to be. It definitely looks more like a contour shade. I do feel like it's making like a really nice kind of natural looking shadow on me compared to the Anastasia one, where I mentioned how that one is kind of like in between a bronzer and a contour shade for my skin tone. Do a little on my chin. Yeah, it is so creamy when you go to apply it. What I was kind of thinking about too, and just like my personal preferences, I like my cream bronzer and contours to be like in a stick form, because I really like to draw these on because you're like getting the perimeter of your face, you know, you're making shadows and contours and everything. Whereas for like my cream blushes, I definitely prefer like a liquid blush or a compact blush. I typically don't love a blush stick. See if I can do a little on the nose. Does it smell? Well, it has a little bit of a scent to it. I wasn't expecting that. But I gotta say, I really like what Makeup Forever has been doing, where they're taking their like popular shades of product and making it into so many different types of products, if that makes sense. Like they have all of their liners and like their core range of shades, and they even have different types of liners, and now they have these multi-sticks again in those core shade ranges. Whew, that was a nose contour. And then let me see if I can add a little bit like right below my bottom lip. Yeah, this is a good shadowing color. This is what I wanted. Very, very happy with the Endless Cacao color. Creamy, blendable. Again, this is only my first impression, so I'm gonna keep using it for sure. That looks a little dark for blush. Well, that's like a bronze. Whoa. Oh, this one's Anywhere Caffeine, which is one of the lip liner shades that I really like, but I think that would be a little bit too brown for a blush for me. This is Blushing Pink. Still might be a little bit too bright. It's hard to pair blush with bright green yellow eyeshadow. A little bit of a struggle here. I don't want to go too crazy. Like that's too crazy. Ardent Dune. Looks kind of like a light bronzer almost. Swanky Mauve. That's kind of pretty, a little bit softer. I think I'm gonna try the mauve one because it is more of a softer shade of blush, but I don't know if I'm gonna like the formula for a blush, but let's see. I guess we'll just kind of draw it on and blend. Okay, color's not bad at all. I can totally work with this. Okay, wait, that actually looks really nice. I am pleasantly surprised by these. Like, I knew I would like the contour, but the blush blending out like this, I'm happy with. It has a very just like skin-like finish to it too. It's not too radiant or too glowy. It's really just adding a nice touch of color. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my base makeup, do like under eye concealer, powder, all that good stuff, and then we'll zoom in and finish up the eyes. I went ahead and applied my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Vanilla under my eyes. I set that with my Huda Beauty powder, and then I used the Charlotte Tilbury powder on the rest of my face. I'm not loving my base today, and I think it's because of the sunscreen that I use. Because for my foundation, I'm wearing the Makeup Forever Super Boost, and normally I really like this one. It does have more of like a kind of dewy radiance to it, and the sunscreen I use today is the Tula one in the yellow bottle that is like really, really glowy and dewy, so I think my skin just felt like too dewy today. I don't know, just wasn't like the right finish I was going for, and that's something I struggle with so much in these like hotter months, because I'll admit it, I'm not one of those people that wears sunscreen year round, even though I know you should. I wear it when the sun's out. Sue me, I'm trying to get better at it, I promise. I'm turning 29 in like 2 weeks. I'm working on it, I promise. But I always just feel like it's so hard to find a good sunscreen that works with makeup. So if you guys have a favorite, please let me know. I feel like every year I'm just always on the hunt for a new good sunscreen. Anyways, let's zoom back in and finish up the eyes. I just realized I'm using a lot of Makeup Forever products today, but I use their liners in pretty much all of my looks. So this is the black liner that I used to tight line up here. And you can kind of tell by now that the black that I placed up here is now transferring to my waterlines. I'm gonna go ahead and add this to my my waterline. Honestly, there really is no way to stop transferring from your tight line to your waterline. It's gonna happen. That's what happens when your eyes touch each other when your eyes are closed. But this one is my go-to black pencil. It's the shade Whatever Black, just a perfect solid black liner. And now I want to get smoky. I'm gonna take that pencil brush I used earlier with that shimmery shade and just clean it off on my Sigma switch to get all that color off of it. And I'm gonna go back to that deepest green shade Plume. And I'm just really gonna load up this shade on my entire lower lash line. Like I said, I'm loading up this shade down here. I want this to be dark and smoky. Okay, so once I'm happy with how dark this is looking, I'm gonna start to soften it out just a little bit. On that small crease brush, I'm gonna go back to Banded, and I'm gonna use that to soften around the edges of Plume. And this brush might still have a little bit of geode left on it, and that is totally fine. Okay, you can see that the edges of the lower lash line is a lot softer now compared to this eye, but I do want to add back some of that darkness that got a little bit blended out. So going back to Plume on my pencil brush and just retouching that up at my lash line. Like I said, I was going for bold and intense today, so this is a very blown out green eyeshadow, I get it. And then just touching up that darkness one more time with Plume. And then I want to see if I can go back to that translucent shade and pop that in my inner corner. Oh yes. Yes, you can. Okay, this looks so freaking cool. Whew. Okay, and that is a green eyeshadow look. Here's a final close-up of the eye look all done. I wonder how this mauve multi-stick will look on my lips. I kind of want to try that. I'm just going to blink them out a little bit with my foundation brush. Let's see here. Color is actually like kind of close to my natural, honestly. And I wanted to try this out because, like I said, it's kind of hard to pick a blush color with such an intense eye look, so it's going to be a little bit more on the safer side to kind of match your lip and cheek, especially with a product like this that is literally meant to be a multi-stick and used in a lot of areas of your face. But that looks really nice. It's just a soft wash of color. It looks almost a little blurring as well on my lips. Like they look very soft to me. I was just reading a comment from someone who was like, you always need a touch of blush at the end of a makeup look, and like, you're not wrong. I do that in every single video. I'm always like, oh, just a little bit more blush. So I'm gonna add a little bit more blush because I did set my face with that Charlotte Tilbury powder, so I kind of want to see how this will apply on top, if it's gonna get like super patchy or something. I don't know. Just a little bit, little dabs. Oh, it's not picking up anything funny, so that is really good news. I'm gonna finish off with a little bit of a gloss. This is Saie Bubble. Okay, and that is the final makeup look. What do you guys think? Like I said, it's kind of been a minute since I've played with a color and shadow like this, but it was a lot of fun just to kind of sit here and be creative. So honestly, I love that this palette inspired me to play with some color today and kind of go back to my like old ways of doing just like a bold eyeshadow look. I'm super impressed with the quality of the shadows, everything applied beautifully, blended out great, and very minimal fallout, especially with those matte greens, which I was very happy about. The shimmers didn't need any extra primer underneath it to make it pop. Like I really feel like they do stand out on their own. So I'm really impressed. I think this is a beautiful palette by Singe Beauty, and if you want some like fun color for summer, highly recommend it. I'm also very excited to keep testing out these Makeup Forever sticks. First impression, very, very happy with how they performed, blended out, they're creamy. I'll have to see how they wear throughout the day, and of course, I'm just gonna keep testing them as usual. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.